Okay, we're going to start off by assuming that you know how to play a scale. I'm going to use this one. Now, that's a minor blues scale. And if you'd like to use that one, download the PDF and start working on it. But if you have other scales that you want to use, that's fine too. And if you don't really know a scale right now, don't worry too much about it because we're going to start pretty simply. Now, the scale is just the musical alphabet, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And just as when you were learning your ABCs as a kid, it doesn't mean that you can write a story. It doesn't mean that you can play a solo if you know a scale. You have to learn how to put it together. Now, when you were young, the first thing they did is they taught you some simple words like cat. Okay? And you might even been asked to write a little story about it, and you'd write 3 or 4 sentences, and they'd all be about the cat. And that's kind of what we're going to do here. We're going to start out with a simple idea and then expand on it. Now, when we expand on an idea, we do that using a number of parameters. Now, the most obvious one, of course, is pitch, and that's what you've been working on all along. But there are more. And most of you will probably guess that the second one is rhythm. And if we, so think of this, do, re, mi, do, re, mi. And then if I add some rhythm to it, do, a deer, it becomes the sound of music. So rhythm is obviously going to be one of our really important elements or parameters that we're going to use. There's still more. If you're listening to me talk to you right now, you probably noticed that my levels go up and down. I'm not talking at exactly the same level all the time. Now, I have a normal level, but I also have a softer level. And sometimes I'll talk even a little louder because I want to emphasize that. And we do the same thing when we're playing our guitar, when we're trying to develop an idea. It goes beyond even that, though. Now, then naturally, when we speak, we have different sounds coming out of our mouth. If I say cat, it kind of pops out and it stops pretty short. But if I say dog, it takes a little longer to start and it takes a little longer to end. And we can do things like that. And it's not just how you start the note, it's also how you end the note. Okay? And then the last one that we can talk about is timbre. And people don't think about this so much. Just simply by changing where I pick the string. Okay? I can change my pickup selector, I can change my tone controls. If you're using foot pedals, you can use foot pedals. So there's all sorts of ways to change the timbre. And if you play the same idea, but with a different timbre, you've developed that idea. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to work on developing some ideas. Okay? And so you'll start out with something fairly simple, some pretty simple ideas, and then we're going to look at ways, there's not very many notes, we're probably, 3 notes or so, and then we're going to use all of these different parameters to develop that idea. And what you'll find is that if you can play with just a few notes, you can play something fairly interesting for a little while. Just think of what's going to happen when you start to add other notes. So